Art is something truly special. But can we agree we all know what art is, right? Have you ever come across a comment under an artist's post where the person just says, "This is not art"? Well, I have many times. What the fuck is this? And every time I see one of those, I think to myself, why do people see art so differently? To a point where anything could be art or not, just because someone thinks so. This always leads me to think about the beginning of the term art. While I will not be speaking much about the changes of the term art over the time, it is important to mention that it has changed a lot and always had different meanings across time and cultures. But don't forget, humans are the ones to define what art is, so it's not like it only has one universal meaning and that's it. The term art was discovered in manuscripts of the 13th century, but probably was already being used before that. It is derived from the Latin word ars, which means craft and skill. But throughout time, people used to give it different meanings or have their own vision of what art should be. The first well-known period of art is the Renaissance, which focused mainly on realism. That might be the reason art was the word for it, because to make art pieces in the Renaissance, you'd have to be skilled to craft sculptures and paintings as realistic as they were. But art started way earlier than that. The Renaissance went from around the 1300s to 1600s, but that comes way later on the history of art, especially because most of the art movements and history you probably know is about the Western history of art, in which most of the time doesn't include, for instance, Japanese art, Buddhist art, Islamic art, and so on. And again, art that came before that, like ancient and medieval art, didn't focus on realism or perfectionism for the most part. It was a form of communication and expressing themselves, even before they could say anything like art. It's hard to talk about the timeline of art without having flaws in it, because the further we go into the past, the harder it is to have 100% proof of what is true or not, and especially where everything fits at. The thing I didn't mention yet as well is, all of this is just the visual art that existed for the longest of time. But you know there are plenty of other forms of art as well, right? Photography, cinema, music, costume design, makeup, photo editing, 3D modeling, and a bunch of other things as well. All of it that are very recent compared to all of the rest. That just goes to show that we cannot think about what art is based on the original meaning or things that relate to paintings or realistic recreations. I'm not making this video to tell you about the full detailed history and every form of art to ever exist, especially because there are plenty of videos, forums, books, and blogs out there talking about it, but to challenge you to think about art in a different way. Focus on other forms of art, other cultures and countries and their history, influences and art pieces. Know that what you might see today being labeled as art is not supposed to be perfect or something that takes a lot of time to make. Sometimes it's just about appreciating the meaning the original creator had in mind, or the feeling it evokes on you, or just a song you want to listen to as you clean your house. I could also reference and show very specific art pieces that are influential in various ways, like I said before, but that also is not the purpose of this video, because again, what might have been influential to others might not be for you. I could talk about what influenced you, or you could tell others yourself. Maybe you have a painter, a musician, a 3D modeler that influenced you, especially if they are a small creator. Share their work, maybe say why you like them, why you think their art matters and should be shared with others. Make a change and don't let only big artists be the one influencing the future of art. And to finish part 2, I would like to say something more personal. I know that most art you probably encounter in your life is not going to evoke such strong feelings on you, but if you don't stop searching for it, eventually something magically will reach you that will inspire your work or show that even in an era where most things have already been done, there's always something unique for you to experience, like the feeling of you listening to this song on a winter summer day. Or this one on a summer night. This one on a car ride at Christmas. This one when I'm having anxiety attacks. This one when I'm sick. This when I'm sad. or this, when the emotion is so strongly indescribable and very melancholic. And many others that shape what I listen to, consume, and create depending on the place, weather, and emotions. Did this maybe show you how different or similar you and I are? How easy it is to have different meanings to art? To finish it off with an example, if you are someone who likes rock/metal, can we both agree that Linkin Park is a great band, right? But the reason I feel that way is probably very different from your reason. Meaning if there's another band out there very similar to Linkin Park, I could love them, but you could hate it. All because the reason we like Linkin Park in the first place is unique. As you can see, there are many aspects and pinpoints in art that can be talked about, in all forms of it as well. So after hearing all of this, is your opinion about art the same? If I'm being honest, probably yes, because like I explained, every human being has a definition of what art is, that is based in their life experiences, cultures and philosophies, but in my opinion, that doesn't give the right of calling something not art. To me, that is just being disrespectful and apathetic about others and their own realities, which leads me to my next point, the burning and devastating reality of artists of the 21st century. Nowadays, unfortunately, we are in an era of desperation, where basically every artist needs to create as much content to have a chance of success. Not because they can only make art if they are being paid, but because no one wants to have to work as a barista, for instance, for the most part, and only have a little bit of time to be an artist. People want to be able to live off of their art, so they can fully create something new every day. Of course, this doesn't mean that if you are not doing design, editing, music, recording, doing merch, and etc., that you are not good enough. It is just that you have a higher chance of gaining fans if doing so. And on top of that, there will always be someone to tell you, that's not art, that's not real music, what the fuck is this video? And all sort of disencouraging phrases, not in a constructive and criticism way, just an offensive and saddening way. So what do? We ignore it, or use it to get better. Not because those people deserve attention or being proven wrong, but because we will always want to improve, no matter what fuels us to do it. But this gets worse, as by recent years we are entering the future of AI, where people who are fortunate enough to work with art are being laid off from their works just to be replaced by some AI, and the ones who are trying to make a living out of it are seeing how further and further that reality sweeps away. Did I say that right? But this is only one of the many bad sides of AI. The saddening one. But what about the angering one? It's where AIs are being fed art from independent artists who then not consent to it. AI steals from artists just so an effortless person can generate something to use as a profile picture. But the last one is even worse. The thing about AI that takes away our hopes, the amount of water that is used in data centers, accelerating the scarcity of water. Just like ONU declared at the start of this year, 2026, we are in an era of water bankruptcy. Just like I talked about before, art is intrinsically related to ourself, past, present and future. Art is here to express ourselves, share feelings, enjoy the world around us, and eventually destroy the planet. But that part is not our fault. It's the 1% of the 1% that only cares about themselves. How can we let people like them rule those companies that affect the world in such a hard way? Like, you see, art is about humanity, passion, feelings, connection, cultures, relationships, creativity, thoughts, emotions, and many other things. And all of those in power of the social media we are obligated to use so we can have an audience, of the AI tools the market is shoving down on us, and all of the evil things we have to act as being normal. Because we all think we can do anything, but we can, especially about AI. If you are an artist, you probably already don't use it, but please, to everyone who's not dependent on it for your job to survive, be conscious. Stop using AI. Let's not collaborate to the end of humans and humanity. I'm pretty sure now you can see how much artists, especially the small ones, have to deal with every single day. So, to the brave people going through all of this, here are a bunch of artists I follow on Instagram that deserve your attention. This is the type of art I love, the genuine and broadly types of art, going from obscure ambient tracks that capture the feeling of thinking about someone on a calm night to a painting that causes me to laugh. At the same time, it makes me impressed and uncomfortable, to a sculpture that looks like a real person or something from another planet, to a video game that makes me cry, to a photo I want to use as a wallpaper, to the design of flash games, to the vast world of aesthetics, to the makeup on someone's face, and to the clever way of protesting the horrors of today's world. This is art for AI.